All right, up next we have a battle in the, I guess you could say it's the co-main event of the evening. I don't know why I say I guess, but in the co-main event of the evening in the featherweight division, you've got the number 10 ranked Dan 50K Ige, who comes into the fight with a record of 15 victories and 5 defeats, going up against the undefeated UFC prospect at 15-0 in Movsar Evloev. Now, Evloev versus Ige, it's a great fight. Ige's coming off that split decision loss to Josh Emmett. I believe it was split. It could have been unanimous, 29-28 at UFC. When was it? UFC 269, I believe, right? Let's see. Yes, UFC 269. Prior to that, he had a unanimous decision loss to Chan Sung Jung in a 5-round fight. Before that, he had a first-round knockout at 22 seconds of the first round over a very highly respected and touted prospect, in my opinion, fighting out of TriStar Gym in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, and Gavin the Governor Tucker. Prior to that, he had a decision loss to Kelvin Cater. Before that, a split decision victory over Edson Barbosa and a split decision victory over Mirsad Bektic. A decision victory over Kevin Aguilar. A rear naked choke submission in the first round over Danny Henry. A unanimous decision over Jordan Griffin. A TKO in the first round at 50 seconds over Mike Santiago. And then before that, he lost at UFC 220 to Julio Arce via unanimous decision. So overall in the UFC, Ige is 7-4, right? Yeah, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so he's 7-4 overall in the UFC. Kind of hot and cold as of late. If you look at his last 5 fights, he comes to you with a record of 2-3 in his last 5, losing to Emmett, Jung, and Cater, who are some of the best, and then coming back and beating the likes of Barbosa, Mirsad Bektic, and Gavin Tucker. But when he fights the upper echelon, the top of the top, Emmett, Jung, and Cater, he has good fights with them. I think the Jung fight was pretty one-sided in my opinion. I mean, he had some good moments in there. I think he hurt Jung a few times, but Jung dropped him multiple times. Josh Emmett was able to drop him, but I think he looked the best in the Josh Emmett fight. I think that Ige was really starting to find success with his jab. That's something that we knew about Ige, is he's a good striker. He's very good at switching his stances, switching from orthodox to southpaw with that right hook, left, straight left, right hook into the overhand left. He's got very good stance switch combinations, and that power in the right hand is always going to be there. Ige is a Hawaiian fighter, and he kind of has that Hawaiian just scrap, shout out to BJ Penn style of fighting. He comes forward with his hands high, kind of brings that lead hand out and kind of, swipes it like a windshield wiper motion. And he comes forward and tries to bomb that right hand, tries to bomb that left hook, tries to bomb that right uppercut. Sometimes he'll go right hand, lead uppercut, right hand, lead uppercut, right hand, jab, lead uppercut, right hand. But he seems to, under the tutelage of Eric Nixick out at Extreme Couture, shout out to Coach Eric Nixick. He's been on the podcast a few times. Love that guy. Hope to get him on again soon. And he seems to have tightened up the striking of Ige, and I think that's something we saw very exclusively in the Josh Emmett fight. He worked behind the jab beautifully. He was kind of timing it right. Boom, just pop the jab. Boom, just pop the jab. 1, 2, boom, pop the jab. The jab was stifling a lot of the work of Josh Emmett, but Emmett landed the bigger shots. He caught Ige in the first round with an overhand right and dropped him, hurt him, controlled a little bit from the top position. Ige was able to catch one of Josh Emmett's kicks, turn off the cage, take him down. It was a back and forth fight, but Emmett definitely landed the bigger, more powerful, and impactful shots. But the thing I took from that fight is we already know Dan Ige is durable. We already know it's nearly impossible to finish the guy, but he's working behind that jab a lot. And the jab against a guy like Movsar Evloev, I think it can be a very solid weapon, and I think if Ige wants to win this fight, he has to stick behind the jab. Now you look at Movsar Evloev, 15-0 in professional mixed martial arts. He is, I believe, 4-0 in the UFC. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-0. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he's got a unanimous decision victory over Hakeem Dawodu back at UFC 263 in June of 2021. That was his last fight. A split decision victory over Nick Lentz at UFC 257. a decision victory over Mike Grundy at UFC on ESPN 14, a decision victory over Enrique Barzola at UFC Fight Night 162, and then a decision victory over Sang-Woo Choi at UFC Fight Night 149. Prior to the UFC, he has some KOs, a rear naked choke, a head kick KO, a TKO, a couple rear naked choke submissions. The only submissions he gets are rear naked chokes, but that seems to be, definitely an avenue that he likes to work because of his grappling, because of his high-level wrestling, his scrambling ability, his top pressure, his control. I think that the wrestling of Movsar Evloev is going to play a big factor in this fight against Ige. Now, I think a lot of people, I picked against Ige in the Gavin Tucker fight, and Ige shut my mouth in 22 seconds with that beautifully timed right hand, one-hitter quitter on the chin, and put Gavin Tucker to sleep. And then he came back against Emmett, and, he didn't look so good. But he still looked good in the fight. He just didn't get the job done, I should say. I feel like Ige is a brawler who's become more technical the longer he's been in the UFC, but he still has those brawler tendencies. But he's got good power, good uppercuts, good right hand, good solid left hook, a good jab. The jab in this fight against Evloev is going to be the key to his victory. He's going to have to stick behind the jab and use that jab to line up the power shots. Now, the longer the fight goes, I think it favors Ige. In the third round, if Evloev is having trouble getting those takedowns, if he's having trouble controlling Ige on the floor, I think that in the third round, Ige might be able to crack the chin of Evloev and knock him out. I definitely think that Evloev's chin is going to be there in that third round to get hit, to get caught, and to get taken out with a one-hitter quitter. And if anybody can do it, it's 50K, Dan 50K Ige. But overall, I think the lateral movement, the in and out movement, the fakes and feints Evloev uses on the feet, and the ability of him to constantly be shooting takedown after takedown after takedown and controlling the opponent on the ground, the strength and precision that he employs in his grappling is going to take him very far in this fight. And I think that the wrestling threat of Evloev is going to make Dan Ige a little bit hesitant, not early in the fight. I think early on, he's going to be looking to push forward, get in Evloev's face, and put him out. And if he lands one of those big shots on the chin of Evloev, I think he can knock him out. I think it's a definite area. I think the only way Ige wins this fight is to knock out Evloev, to catch him on the chin with that beautiful right hand, to catch him with that left hook. I think if he catches him on the chin, he can knock out Evloev. We've seen him get stunned with punches from Hakeem Dawodu. We've seen him get stunned in his fights before. And, he's there to be hit. Hakeem broke out of the clinch. Boom, caught him with a beautiful right hand. Boom, caught him with a beautiful left hook and stunned him multiple times. And if Hakeem Dawodu can stun you, I'm not saying he's not a good power puncher, but if Dawodu can do that to you, Ige can knock you the fuck out. And I mean that seriously. He can knock you out. He's got that power. He's got great, heavy hands. But I think Evloev is just the much more technical, tactical, and smarter fighter. Now, I said if he uses fakes and feints and uses that jab and sets up everything behind that jab on Evloev, paired with the footwork, paired with the stance switches, I think he can win. But I think the takedown attempts, the fakes and feints on the feet are going to make Ige hesitant, or it's going to make him throw when Evloev's not there to be hit. Evloev's going to shoot, get those takedowns, and work from the top position. Ige doesn't do much of anything off of his back. He's decent from the top position. He has decent ground control or, ability to get back up. But when you get him on his back, he doesn't really do much. He doesn't have much of a submission threat off of his back. And I think if he did, it'd make it a lot closer of a fight. But the fact that he doesn't have much of a submission threat off of his back, I think we're going to see Evloev get those takedowns early and put on a wrestling clinic for 15 minutes. Now, I said the third round is going to be trouble, and it could very well be for Evloev because Ige is not going to stop. Ige pushes forward, and Ige is a fighter's fighter. That's the best way to describe Dan Ige, a technical brawler and a fighter's fighter. He's going to try to win the fight for all 15 minutes, and he's not going to quit on himself. So if you maybe want to sprinkle in a Dan Ige to win by KO in the third round at probably like a plus 900 or plus 1,000, I wouldn't be mad at you. But overall pick, I got to go with Evloev. And it's tough because this is definitely his toughest matchup. This is his biggest test to date, without a doubt, and it's not even close. He had trouble against Hakeem, and I think he can have more trouble against Ige, but Ige has the power to put him out. But I think the wrestling, the fakes and feints on the feet, and his ability to get those takedowns over and over again and control from the top position is going to win him at least 2 out of the 3 rounds. I think Ige might be able to get one in the bank, maybe the third round. If Evloev gets tired, he might be able to steal that third round and make it a close split or close split decision. But overall, I'm going to go with the undefeated prospect here. I'm going to go with Movsar Evloev to win this fight via a 29-28 unanimous decision. I think he gets 2 dominant rounds with the wrestling, with the top control. Just out-wrestles Ige, makes him hesitant on the feet, gets him to overextend on the feet, and then uses that to get in on his hips and take him down. So my pick is Movsar Evloev to improve to 16-0 in professional mixed martial arts and 6-0 in the UFC via a 29-28 unanimous decision over Dan 50K Ige. I love Dan Ige. I don't want to see him lose here. I love Ige. I love watching him fight. I think he's a badass. I think he's a fighter's fighter, but I can't pick him here.